Aha! A snowstorm's coming! Perfect for a race. Let's go, my loyal soldiers!
Looks like a big storm, guys.
Shall we head home? Scared already? Cowards! I was born and raised in the snow. This is nothing. Then I signaled for Bam and Holly to speed up, but they stopped and barked non-stop instead. Is that pile of snow moving? I hurriedly ran over to check. OMG! It's a boy! No, an angel with blonde hair. My heart was racing. Is this love at first sight?
Help me.
No matter how much Eldon and Era objected, I insisted on bringing this guy back to my place. I had to take care of him myself. Oh, looks like he'd woken up. Are you okay?
Where am I?
You're in my house. I'm Brenna, by the way. I found...
Oh, God!
Huh? What's wrong? Something on my face?
No. It's just that you're too beautiful. Like a real-life Snow White.
Then he said his name's Beavis. He came here to travel, but unfortunately was met by the snowstorm. Yeah, it's gonna snow heavily in the next couple of days, so you should stay here until you recover. After a few days, Beavis got better, so I showed him around. On the sledge. Although Bam and Holly were practically just walking, Beavis still freaked out so much, he huddled up against me. Hold on tight, I'm speeding up. We went up a hill, then through a pine forest and arrived at, ta-da, probably the biggest frozen lake he had ever seen. I taught Beavis how to drill a hole in the ice, then he excitedly dropped the fishing line. The following days, I continued taking him sightseeing, and we were basically inseparable. We went to see polar bears, kayaking among the icebergs. I taught him how to make instant snow by spraying boiling water into the cold air, and we even watched the spectacular auroras together.
Wow, I've never seen such beautiful scenery before.
Yeah, and I'd never seen such a beautiful face before. Just like that, Beavis spent day after another with me here in the Arctic. It's been so much fun, but for some reason, my friends Eldon and Era were not having any of it. They seemed to hold grudges against him or something. One time when I was arranging supplies in the root cellar, I heard Beavis's ear-piercing scream. I hurriedly checked and saw a white fox dashing out, followed by giggles outside the window.
You're such a chicken, big city boy. It's just an extra-large kitty.
Then Eldon and Era burst into laughter. Ugh, can those two show a little hospitality? At dinner, I cooked him my signature dish as an apology to Beavis for those naughty friends of mine. He was totally cool about it and even told me stories about his friends back at home and about their lives in Florida. Whoa, it sounds so magical. I wish I could lounge around on a beach and soak up the sun while enjoying my coconut drink, too. I went to sleep dreaming about the beautiful urban life. Suddenly, a knock on my bedroom door woke me up. I stumbled to answer it and saw Beavis.
Hey, Brenna, could you take me to the toilet? It's too dark outside, and that fox might come back.
How cute! He's really good at coming up with excuses to be with me. While waiting for Beavis, I planned out what we're gonna do tomorrow. As he got back from the outhouse, I couldn't contain my excitement and told him right away.
Hey, I'm all better now. Maybe it's time for me to go home.
Huh? Why so sudden?
I'm sorry, but I really can't take this anymore.
No, how could my first love end this fast? It hasn't even started.
Brenna, it's so tough for me to live here. I don't want to boil ice every time I need a cup of water or go to the toilet out in the freezing cold. And how tiring that we can only go around on sleds. But even if we had a car, there's literally nowhere to go in this gloomy place. But still, I've endured it all this whole time because I can't leave you. I think I'm in love with you.
Beavis,
How about you going to the city with me so that we could stay together?
Oh my, it turned out that we both have feelings for each other, but because of that, he had to suffer in silence. Such a sweet guy. And it's true, he wasn't built for this harsh climate. He didn't belong here. The next morning, I told Eldon and Era that I wanted to hang out in Miami for some days. Brenna, I don't think it's a good idea.
That pansy boy must have coaxed you to do this. Don't buy those sweet words.
I tried my best to explain how nice and polite Beavis was, but they wouldn't listen.
Girl, he got you all blinded. You've only known him for a few days, not enough to tell what kind of person he is. Can't believe you're just one of those shallow girls.
Who are you calling shallow? Yeah, right. I was blinded. Blinded by his kindness. Then I stormed off, leaving Eldon and Era behind.
I just worry about you.
Yeah, right. Worry? Or are you just jealous of me? I came home to a shivering Beavis. He couldn't stand this freezing weather anymore, and I couldn't bear seeing him like this either. So I told Beavis that I would go with him. Look how happy Beavis was, and I too was excited to visit his hometown. It's gonna be fun. It took only less than 2 days for us to arrange things out, buy the tickets, ask Ira to look after Bam and Holly, and we're good to go. After a long flight, we're finally here. It looks like a completely different world in front of my eyes. Crowds of people rushing left and right. Suddenly, I spotted something. Oh, that looks just like my Holly! What a spoiled husky. At that age, my 2 buddies were already the best sled dogs in the area. Oopsie. City folks don't seem too friendly, do they? Huh? What else? Why is it moving so fast and non-stop? While I hesitated to take a step, Beavis suddenly carried me up in the air. Don't worry, I got you. Oh boy, he's so sweet. Beavis then got me transformed into a city girl. He took me shopping, then got my hair dyed. I really like my silky black hair, but Beavis said this looked better on me. This too, baby girl. This is a tattoo parlor, isn't it? Seeing my confusion, Beavis explained that couples here usually get tattooed on important occasions, and today marks the first day that you walk into my world, so I want it imprinted in my heart. So Beavis and I got matching tattoos that he chose. A weird-looking red shape behind the ears. It might not look pretty, but was definitely unique enough to be special for just us two. Once we were done shopping, we went to a luxurious villa. Oh my, is he taking me to his parents? I'm so nervous, not sure how I should behave when Beavis comforted me. They were nice. Don't worry, just do as they tell you to. Just then, the main door opened. Everyone turned to look at us full of excitement. This must be the first time Beavis took his girlfriend home then. Hello? Hello, everyone. Suddenly a man walked straight over and lifted my chin. Very similar, but this, but that. Just look at her birthmark. It's Demi. Thank goodness.
Our beloved daughter has returned.
I was still processing everything when everyone rushed to hug me and bombarded me with questions. I turned to Beavis for help, but where is he? What's going on? I tried to explain that I was Brenna, born in the snowy Arctic. Both my parents had passed away, and this was my first time leaving my hometown. But to no avail. My precious daughter, Beavis told us everything. You fell in the woods and had a concussion, so you're having a temporary memory loss. Just get rested for now, okay? Oh, where is Beavis then? I gotta ask him something. Don't worry, your savior will be well rewarded. You'll see him tomorrow. Everything happened so fast, I'm totally lost. But the most I could do now is to wait until tomorrow. I'm sure Beavis will clear things up. Upon catching sight of Beavis, I immediately unloaded it all onto him. Shush, just listen to me first. Turned out, Beavis worked here for the Atchleys family. He escorted their daughter, Demi, on a trip to the mountains, but she ran away. Mrs. Atchley was utterly furious about this and used his ill mother to blackmail him into finding Demi. That's why he risked going out into the snowstorm where we met. But why me? I have nothing to do with Demi. You and Demi look just like twins. When I saw you, I couldn't believe my eyes either. I did what I did because I was worried for my mom. I hope you can forgive me and help us, please. I'll soon find Demi. So, you were only using me? No, I'm truly in love with you, Brenna. I didn't want to be away from you, and you deserve a much better life here, with me. But just wait until I find Demi. Then we will run away and live happily together. Poor Beavis. He seriously had the worst luck. If I were him, I guess I would do the same. So I reluctantly lived as Demi. Luckily, her parents thought I lost my memory, which made it not too hard to be her. One day, I received a text from Eldon. I suddenly remembered that I'd been away from home for almost a month. I wonder if Bam and Holly miss me. To say I was not one bit homesick would be a lie. But there's no way I'd speak to Eldon. So I called Ira to catch up on things and asked for her help in the search for Demi. It had been a few days already, but neither Ira nor Beavis had heard anything about Demi. Feeling too restless, I went for a walk in the garden. Wait, what's that noise? Eldon? See what you got yourself into, idiot. Told ya, I saw right through him. Why are you here? And what are you talking about? Ira already told me. Beavis obviously only sees you as someone else's replacement. He doesn't love you. Let's go home. No, let me go. Stop bothering my girl. Leave me alone, please. You're only making things worse. This place has everything and it's much better than a hellhole in the middle of nowhere. Live there all you want. Don't drag me down with you. Eldon immediately let my hand go. He didn't say another word but gave me a disappointed look. Was that too much? Well, he's the one who kept sticking his nose in others' business. Who is he to control me? After that day, I still saw him lurking around the mansion sometimes. So annoying. Who in their right mind would be out in this scorching heat? Today, Mrs. Ashley, suddenly took me shopping. I guess having a family like this isn't too bad, huh? She said tonight I was attending an important dinner party, so I had to put on this tight dress along with a pair of killer heels. They looked pretty good, but I really couldn't breathe. Jeez, how can anyone do this? It's literally harder than walking on thin ice. Ah! Phew, that was close. Thank you, sir.
Careful, I can't be around to protect you all the time.
Alden, why is he still so kind to me? I wanted to say something to him, but Mom already signaled for me to hurry up from afar. I rushed to the car, leaving him there. Thanks to Mom's preparation, the guys there were staring at me without blinking, especially this special guest. Mom told me that I was supposed to be smiley and friendly to Otis, but how was I supposed to do that when he kept rambling all these boring stories? My eyes wandered around, searching for Beavis and an excuse to leave.
What are you looking for, sweetie? The most important person is already right in front of you.
Ugh! I pushed him away, then ran off. There Beavis is. We should get out of this boring place. Oh, Mrs. Ashley's here too?
What? That's it? I risked being in danger just to find her and bring her back to you. Don't take me for a fool. I'm only her stepmother, but I can tell that girl isn't Demi. I just let you off since she resembled her quite a bit. You're in no position to demand. But didn't you get Otis all smitten also? Isn't that all you care about anyway? So give me my money. I had to rack my brain to sweet-talk that girl into coming here.
That means your sickly mother doesn't exist either, does she?
Oh, sweetie, you've heard it all. So what if that's true?
You won't get a dime. I'll expose your scheme.
Where are you going, sweetheart? It's bedtime.
So my phone was confiscated and I'd been locked in this room for 3 days straight. They wanted me to give in and date Otis, but no way. I tried every possible way to escape, but always ended up getting caught. One morning, I was woken up by dogs barking. Annoyed, I went to the balcony to check and saw Eldon, and bam! Eldon signaled for me to stay calm and flew a paper plane to me, then swiftly left. Let's see. Fine then, if that's what he wants. Let's end things here once and for all. I agreed to date Otis like the Ashleys demanded. I even enthusiastically chose my own outfit, did my makeup with a cute hairstyle. Mr. and Mrs. Ashley were very pleased with that. They couldn't hide their excitement and even stood at the gate to welcome Otis when he came to pick me up. As his supercar arrived, Otis, the preppy guy, had just stepped out when Eldon signaled Bam to charge at him and scared him away. Meanwhile, the Ashleys were screaming for security. I was gonna leave in the midst of the chaos, but
don't you dare run away! Ugh!
Holly jumped out of nowhere and made Beavis fall to his knees. Holly then bit on his pants and dragged him around. Good job, baby! Right then, a car stopped in front of us, and a girl stepped out who looked just like me. This must be Demi!
Who are you? Why do you look exactly like my daughter?
What kind of father are you to not recognize your own child? This is precisely why I ran away from home. After that, Demi exposed her stepmother and Beavis's evil plan in my stead. Demi's dad frantically apologized to his daughter and admitted that he'd always been so caught up with work that he overlooked family and his wife's scheme.
Get out of my sight at once, and don't even think about bringing a dime with you.
Then Eldon dragged me into the car, and in the driver's seat was Ira. Thank you, Ira. Just me? Eldon did most of it. I shyly looked over at Eldon. Thank you, and I'm sorry.
It's okay, we're friends after all. I'll take care of you at all costs. Anyway, just hope that you've learned your lesson now, Brenna. Not all that glitters is gold.
Eldon's right. This beautiful city is glamorous, but I don't belong here. I belong to the wind and snow, to the winterland I call home. Time to go back. The trip to the city was like a fever dream, but let's leave it all behind, 'cause I'm busy racing with Eldon. As expected, he's always as slow as a turtle.
Hi, this is for you.
For me? What's the occasion?
The day we stop being friends. Brenna, what do you say if we become more than friends?
Hey guys, my name is Leah, a typical nerdy girl and a huge fan of Ace, the most talented, brilliant, incredible actor ever. But in the limelight, I transform into Aubrey Fern, the glamour star of the hottest movie right now. Follow me crush with the real-life Ace. How is it possible? Well, I just got really lucky. That day, I was walking home from college when I suddenly felt like someone was following me. This sketchy guy was definitely up to no good. So I changed my route through this stinky alley, trying to lose him. But he stayed relentless and chased after me. So, you've chosen death, then. When he was 10 feet away, I picked up a trash can and dumped it on his head, grabbed a golf club nearby, and started smashing non-stop. You creep! You messed with the wrong, innocent, helpless little girl!
Stop! Who are you calling creep? I'm an artist manager from Moon Entertainment.
Wait, Moon Entertainment? As in Ace's management label? Then why didn't you say so? Turns out his name was Grayson, and he's not here for my angelic voice or charismatic dance moves, but guess what? For my face. This guy must be a comedian.
A few days ago, you used the celebrity twin filter on TikTok, and the result was Aubrey Fern, an actress under our management, correct?
Yeah?
Moon Entertainment actually created that filter. We were looking for someone who looks just like Aubrey to replace her.
Okay, I must have hit his head too hard. I'd better get away from him quick. But he caught me right away and immediately teleported me to the company headquarters. Even the CEO himself came to welcome me. They were dead serious about me filling Aubrey's shoes. Heck, her whole identity. Apparently, the actress found showbiz too stressful and decided to quit. But she was one of the top faces of the company, so they couldn't just let her disappear. Out of nowhere, the door swung open and entered Ace! He rushed towards me, genuinely concerned, and gently dabbed my nose dry with his own sleeve.
So, this is who I'll be dating? Looking forward to that.
What? Dating?
That's right, Leah. I've just released a statement of Ace and Aubrey dating. People are going wild. As the new Aubrey, you'll get a once-in-a-lifetime chance to be Ace's girlfriend. Just for show, of course. But who knows? He seems into you.
I think I just hit the jackpot. Aubrey 2.0, here she comes. The next day, I arrived at a top beauty salon for a celebrity makeover. From the shine of my hair to the size of my pores, everything had to be flawless. And you wouldn't believe how many designer outfits and jewelry I got to try on. I looked like $1,000,000. Ace was gonna freak out the next time he saw me.
You may look like Aubrey, but your personality needs some work.
Jeez, who spat in your coffee this morning?
Anyway, you better tidy up, 'cause I'm moving into your house.
What? No way! You and your spiteful mouth should stay 10 feet away from me, or else I'll call security.
Ha! Guess what, Miss Diva? It says right here in the contract that your manager, aka me, has to supervise you 24/7 so you don't spill anything confidential.
You're bluffing.
Am I, though?
I stared at the contract, too stunned to speak. Why did I sign without reading it first? The guy's a nightmare. He even pretended to be an Italian exchange student and followed me to class. Weirdly, all the girls on campus were gushing over his fake accent.
Sei un porco.
I don't know what's more pathetic, his Italian accent or that you guys are actually swooning for that. Uh-oh, these girls did not know how to take a joke. Whoa, you guys wouldn't want to touch my face. My contract says it's worth, but before I could say another word, Grayson dragged me away like a rag doll. Other than that, life as Aubrey was amazing. I got to appear on loads of magazine covers, attended a bunch of exclusive events, and starred in the most anticipated rom-com of the year. And you know what the best part was? Ace was right by my side. Imagine being this close to your idol every day. You could just fall head over heels for him, literally. But no worries, people would still think that you're cute, as long as you know how to pose for the camera. One time, I heard Ace say that his ideal type is a girl with healthy, sun-kissed skin. So I figured I should give tanning a try. But when I arrived at the film set the next day, everyone laughed at me, saying I looked like a half-dried up squid. This was so humiliating. Bet Grayson had a blast making fun of me. But instead, he rushed to put his jacket over my head to cover me up.
Why are you trying so hard for that narcissist? You look ridiculous. I think she looks kind of cute. Just needs a bit of blending.
It's Ace! He's standing up for me. His handsome face suddenly came super close to mine.
Care to go on a date with me tonight?
Yes, 1,000,000 times yes. I immediately went home after work, scrubbed off the stupid tanning lotion, and got ready at lightning speed. We're meeting at this private restaurant on the 32nd floor of a luxurious building. And there Ace was, the brightest star amongst the city lights waiting for me. He was so gentle and sweet. We were having the best time. His dreamy eyes looked at me like he was about to say something. Something sweet, I can sense it. When flashlights came from nowhere, blinding us. Paparazzi? How did they get in here?
Aubrey, is it really you in the picture?
Ace, what does it feel like being cheated on? What are they talking about? Just then, a strong arm suddenly grabbed my waist and pulled me out of the crazy crowd. It was Grayson. I'd never felt happier seeing his grumpy face. We got into the van, and Grayson showed us his article of me kissing a random guy at a beach resort. What? This must have been photoshopped. We gotta clear this up. Ace didn't listen to my words. His face was twitching in anger. Do you have any idea how this affects my career? Me being cheated on? That's just pathetic. Pull over. I need to get out. I can't stand you right now. He slammed the door shut, then stormed off. I was speechless. I'd never seen this scary and mean side of him before.
Don't mind him. He could be a real douchebag sometimes. I'll get you some ice cream, then we'll go home, okay?
Grayson's words cheered me up. I'm honestly touched by this cold hands, warm heart kind of guy. Grayson tried his best to shield me from the public backlash, but it was all for nothing, as Moon Entertainment let false rumors spread like wildfire. Now Aubrey, aka me, was being badmouthed everywhere. A tramp? A bimbo? Some even said I was a stain in Ace's career. That's it. I couldn't do this anymore. I launched into the CEO's office ready to give him a piece of my mind, but he was just chilling with Ace.
Leah, just the person I'm looking for. I'm about to make an announcement stating Aubrey is not the one in the picture, and you and Ace are still deeply in love.
No thanks. I'm here to quit. This pressure is all too much.
Now, calm down. Maybe a nice trip to the city of love will help you relax, right, Ace? Of course. Let staff fix this while we take a break and maybe get to know each other better. Come on, I'll drive you home.
The last time we met, Ace went bonkers on me, and now he's being as nice as pie. Talk about Jekyll and Hyde. Suddenly, he stopped the car at the riverbank and turned to me.
Leah, I was wrong to take it out on you. I've never faced high pressure like that before, and I lost my mind. And you know what? That night, I was about to speak from my heart. I love you, Leah.
He pulled me in for a kiss. It was so out of the blue, I didn't even know what to think. But then he opened his eyes and looked at me. So in love, I couldn't help but give in.
Baby, I can't wait to be with you in Paris.
It was everything I'd ever wanted, right? That night, Moon Entertainment finally cleared up the rumor. That's not all. Pictures of Ace and I kissing were making the headlines. How did they get this picture? Those paparazzi are so sneaky. I was so perplexed and for some reason kept thinking about Grayson and how he would feel hearing this news. I came to the roof to see him sitting deep in thought. Hey, haven't you heard? They cleared up my scandal.
Remember, that's not your scandal, Leah. Don't let Moon Entertainment manipulate your life.
You don't trust them?
Yeah, and I don't trust Ace either.
It's got nothing to do with Ace. He's my boyfriend for real now. Plus, we're going to Paris for a romantic break. Grayson let out a solemn sigh. I guess he was just trying to protect me from the company. But he didn't need to protect me from Ace, right? He still went with us to Paris and lingered in the background with a stone-cold face. I was embracing this moment with Ace, and as we strolled together, a group of fangirls recognized him and flocked around us. One of them even held him back, crying like a lunatic. Ace, don't you miss me? You promised.
What are you talking about? Leave me alone.
He pushed the girl aside, then dashed out of the crowd. I tried to follow him, but a hand suddenly snatched mine. It was a girl burying her face under a mask and pair of sunglasses. She snuck a USB into my hand and said, Ace's darkest secrets are in here. You're scaring me. What do you want? The girl tried to reply, but Grayson cut in between us and pulled me away. We ran and ran under the sunlight of a spring day in Paris. Why was this single moment way more romantic than anything I had with Ace, my idol? Could it be that I have fallen for Grayson? Grayson took me back to the hotel, looking somber as he turned to leave. At that moment, I realized I didn't want to let him go. He was the only one who understood me and got me through this crazy double life, not Ace. Neither he nor his celebrity lifestyle suit me. Ace would be better off without me in the way of his stardom. Grayson had tried warning me many times. Maybe the girl in the mask knows something. I plugged the USB into my laptop and a video popped up on the screen. There's proofs of Moon Entertainment manipulating the media all these years to cover up for Ace's scandalous private life. Dark things us fans have never seen before. His anger issues, his drinking problem, his cheating scandal? I scrolled down to see a dozen pictures of him with different girls kissing. And they're not just random girls, but his actual fans. I know them. Look, it's the crying girl this afternoon. And this one is a well-known admin of one of his fan sites. This was unbelievable. He'd been playing his entire fandom for fools. Right then, I heard grunting sounds coming from the balcony. Someone was trying to climb into my room. Wait, the stranger who gave me the flash drive? For all I knew, she could be a dangerous stalker, given all this proof she somehow had. Panicked, I grabbed the USB, ran straight to Grayson's room, calling for help. His door opened just as the stalker reached us. He hid me behind his back and faced that crazy masked girl.
Better not make another move or you'll be locked up in jail right this minute.
The girl stopped, hands in the air. The moment we took off her disguise, I was shocked to the core. It was Aubrey.
I know this seems crazy, but please listen to me. What you saw in that USB is the truth. Ace's manager provided me with it. What USB? And you didn't choose to leave the industry? The CEO even made all the staff delete your contacts and basically erase your existence.
That snake has been lying to you all this time. I didn't quit. I just wanted a little time off to deal with my mental health. So I went on a digital detox for a while. When I came back, I found out I was already fired without a reason and replaced by a lookalike. I was so devastated I didn't know what to do. Luckily, Ace's manager reached out to help me. He's witnessed Ace's true face, and he despised it. But Moon Entertainment's trapped him in a contract lasting till the end of Ace's career. There's no way out for him until now. His manager has been secretly collecting and sending me evidence, then told me to come to you, because you're also one of their victims, just like us. Gosh, this was unbelievably messed up. You know where he went after our encounter this afternoon? I shook my head in confusion, as she showed me a video of Ace making out with one of the girls earlier at a party. How could he be so shameless? Did us fans look like fools to him? No need to hesitate anymore. I'll take this douche down, in the name of his devoted fandom. I went on to play Ace's girlfriend both in the movies and in real life, while Aubrey used my identity to find a new part-time job as a monitoring staff at the National Broadcasting Station, the organizers of this year's Movie Sensation Awards. No way Ace wouldn't attend, since he was nominated for Best Leading Actor. Poor guy. He has no idea what's in store for him. And there Aubrey is. With the help of Grayson, no one even notices we've switched back. I've also managed to earn Aubrey the host position for this year's award. Now take a seat. The show has begun. And the Best Leading Actor goes to Ace! Classic Ace played out his surprised and emotional act when he got on stage.
I would like to thank my fans for the support they've given me all these years. I'd be nothing without them.
Yeah, right. Now mic off, lights off. Here's the evening's main event. Ace's true face as a deceitful womanizer. Everyone gasped and started whispering. I shine a spotlight on the audience and a girl stands up. I'm one of the girls in those pictures. He told all of us girls he and Aubrey are just a publicity stunt so that we would date him in secret.
I was his photographer once, and he literally screamed at me for 20 minutes because I didn't get his good angle. I'm a bartender at his frequented bar where he gets wasted, hits on girls, and starts fighting with random guys every day.
The audience start booing and throwing things at Ace. The cherry on top is that this whole fiasco is being broadcasted live worldwide. It's safe to say no one will ever be fooled by this douchebag again. Which means my work here is done. I go outside to see paparazzi and fans swarming around Aubrey. She handles them so gracefully it looks effortless. The limelight isn't for me, and that's fine. I'm glad I'm back to being a normal girl who doesn't have to care about public opinion. Best part is, I get to date my idol manager boyfriend over there. I'm thinking a nice home-cooked dinner to celebrate our successful plan. And our 1-month anniversary as well. What do you think? Finally, my first day at school has come. Yay! This special occasion called for my favorite hoodie. Super cool, right? But then, out of nowhere, I was blocked by a group of boys and their cheesy pickup lines. No time for monkey business, but they wouldn't let me go. Hey, do you know who I am? Everything suddenly went blurry. Oh no, my glasses! I stumbled around trying to grab them back, but got shoved to the floor.
Everyone scram! Gimme that.
I looked up and vaguely saw my hero offering me a hand. He gave me my glasses and I profusely thanked him. But he just gave me a cold look and walked off without saying a word. Strange. Oh, by the way, I'm Hazel Palmer, 17 years old. But I'm not here as a student, but a teacher. Yes, you heard it right. Not to brag, but I'm kind of a genius. I even got offered a position in my college's research project, which I have rejected to pursue my dream of becoming a high school teacher. So, here I am, on my very first day of fulfilling it. First, I was introduced to the other teachers, but unlike what I had in mind, they just threw me judgy looks. Luckily, after the meeting, a young teacher named Rebecca kindly welcomed me and even tipped me off about some of the rebels at school. Now, time to meet my students. As soon as I finished my introduction, the whole class immediately turned into a beehive.
Miss, how about we continue this lesson at the movies tonight? Mullet, pierced nose.
This guy must be the notorious Lucas that Rebecca warned me about. Please, as if you'd date someone who would wear such a goofy hoodie. Yeah, who let a weeaboo teach here? Jeez, I didn't expect this reaction. I tried to restore the silence, but to no avail. Ugh, I'm out of patience. Quiet, or else you'll all get Fs. Thank God it worked. Whew, that'll show them who's in charge. But here comes another problem. No way! There's gotta be someone who's really here to study, right? Okay, who is our class's top student?
Ethan!
Ah, didn't he help me in the hallway? But it looked like he didn't recognize me. Okay, let's see. Ethan, right? Could you solve this equation? Equation? No, equation.
I suppose spelling is a bit hard for a numbers person like you.
And the whole class burst into laughter. Jeez, this guy was unbelievable. How about the second best student? Cassie Santiago? That name sounded just like my old classmates. I turned to the corner where an arm reluctantly raised. Oh my, it's her! So good to see a familiar face here. But why is she avoiding me? That afternoon, while walking to my car, I saw Cassie and her friends picking on a girl. Upon seeing me, they immediately ran away, but I managed to catch Cassie. Cassie, since when did you become a mean girl? None of your business. Report me to the principal if you like. Then she strutted away, leaving me standing there confused. Since when had the sweet Cassie ended up on the dark side? Turned out, not long ago, Cassie's father passed away in an accident, leaving her to live with her stepmother. This must left her in so much grief that she put up this cold, reckless facade as a defense mechanism. That's so sad. So, to make Cassie feel included, and also to improve this whole class's performance, I came up with a master plan. More homework, not finished, minus points. And every lesson will come with a gift. A test during recess, and I asked Cassie and Ethan to help the other students. But when I called Cassie to the board, strangely, she couldn't do a simple equation. At first, I thought that it was just her being rebellious, but during the test that day, I noticed her copying Ethan's answers. Does that mean all her A's were from cheating? Not only that, the even shocker thing I found out was that Ethan was her stepbrother. After class, I came to talk to her, but she didn't pay me any attention. Cassie, I know the secret behind your A's. High scores mean nothing when they're not from your own hard work. But out of my business. You're as much my friend as you are a proper teacher. I'd be pleased to tutor you. How about today? See you in the library after school. As if I care. Her words did hurt, but I guess she was just trying to keep her cold image. So I still waited for her, but she never showed up. No matter how much I tried, Cassie ignored me and kept cheating. During the midterm test, she even blatantly snatched Ethan's paper. It's true she's my friend, but I couldn't let it slide any longer, so I dismissed her test. That had to be done. On the same day, while I was in the library searching for materials, I heard familiar voices talking. Ms. Palmer is way too much. She even dismissed Cassie's test today. Can you believe this? Why can't she be understanding like you? Cut her some slack, Sadie. She's just doing what she thinks is best. So, that's what my students really thought of me? After everything I did to try and help them, yet all I got back was bad-mouthing? And Rebecca was so nice to defend me like that. No wonder they liked her. A few days later, the unexpected happened. Cassie, Lucas, and a few others came and asked for extra lessons. Finally, they started to have another eye on studying. But little did I know that it's just a ruse from my dear students to turn the following days into a nightmare. And the instigator was Lucas, I supposed. One day, I almost fainted upon finding a huge ant nest inside my bag. The other day, my pants were stuck to the chair with some gum. Fortunately, Ethan always showed up in time to help me. He's such a riddle. Unlike before, not only did he try to defend me in class, but he also helped me carry my textbooks. But I didn't expect him to care that much. One time, I saw him at the car wash where I worked part-time. I quickly hid behind a car, but Ethan just kept walking towards my wash box.
I'm here to see you, so no need to hide. Let me give you a hand.
After my shift, Ethan took me home. We talked a lot, and I felt comfortable enough to tell him about my mom's health condition, and how I took this part-time job to cover her hospital fee. This side of him was far different from the normal, and it was heartwarming. Suddenly, we noticed an elderly lady who seemed lost, so we offered to take her home. And guess what? She's the grandma of the notorious Lucas. I was truly surprised by how much of a rebel like Lucas cared for his Nana. I could tell he really loved her a lot. Poor boy. She's the only family he got now. Lucas, I know studying is not your thing, but have you thought about how happy your grandma would be if you at least tried? Since then, Lucas stopped causing me any mischief, and so did the other students. Now they could even do simple math themselves. Baby steps. Seeing my effort finally bore fruit, I set up a parent meeting to report students' progress. Halfway through my presentation, a photo of me cosplaying as Sailor Moon popped up on the screen. Oh my god, why is it here? How dare you let this childish thing teach my kids? Then she stormed off, followed by everyone else. I thought I finally had my students on my side. Turns out I never did. Then came the last straw, my mom's medical test results. I couldn't help but cry, letting all my bottled up emotions out. Then, suddenly, a hand laid on my shoulder. What's wrong? My mom's health turned worse, and she needs an urgent operation. I'm sorry to hear that. It's all gonna be okay. Be strong, Miss Palmer. I appreciated him comforting me, and when I felt a bit better, we decided to leave. But the door was locked from the outside. It must have been a prank from my students. Again! We tried banging the door and screaming for help, but eventually gave up and waited for someone to come. This quiet atmosphere sure does have a way of making people open up, and I got to know about Ethan. Seemed like both of us have problems with our beloved family. What's yours? I have a sister. You know who. That I really adore. But no matter how hard I try, she always builds a wall between us. Oh, wasn't this the first time Ethan talked about his personal life? He always put on a cold and distant mask. But I knew deep down he had his struggles too. I was so absorbed in his story that I forgot about being locked up and gradually fell asleep, until a buzzing sound startled me, and countless phone cameras were pointing at us. Guys, check your phones. Look what Miss Palmer and Ethan have been doing this whole time. Oh my! A bunch of photos of me and Ethan had been uploaded on the school website, and from some angles, it looked like we were kissing. Oh no! I tried to explain, but they just threw me a disgusted look. And why was Ethan just standing here saying nothing? This soon reached the principal. He told me there would be a case hearing for inappropriate relationship with a student. How was this even possible? As I dragged my feet to the principal's office, suddenly I heard familiar voices shouting. Why did you do that? I told you to find her weakness, and look what you got. Nothing. I've done everything I could. What else do you want? Everything? Then why is she still here? As long as she's around, she messes up our cheating stuff, and Mom will get my head chewed off for being useless at school. Or is that what you want, brother? What? So, Cassie had been pulling the strings this entire time? And Ethan was her puppet, befriending me just to please his sister. I knew she hated me, but did Ethan have to be so heartless too? Cassie then caught my eye, so I ran away. I was still trying to process this when I walked in to see the school council glaring at me. You're an insult to the teaching profession, which leaves us no choice. I was ready for the worst when Ethan rushed in. Stop! It was me who deliberately jammed the classroom's lock to get back at her for being too strict, but I accidentally got stuck too. There's nothing going on between us. And so, I was cleared of all charges, and Ethan ended up in a week-long suspension. Why did he do that after all? After such a long trial, I drove around town to blow off some steam. Then saw Cassie fighting with a security guard. I found out that Cassie stole a bracelet and was refusing to call her parents. The guard said he'd have to call the cops, so I came forward as her teacher to bail her out. Cassie asked me why I helped her, but I didn't bother explaining myself and just left. Since that day, Cassie didn't attend the extra classes. After his suspension, Ethan returned with his offhand attitude. No time to worry about those two. My mission now was to prepare my students for the upcoming finals and regain my prestige. Luckily, they started to take studying seriously and invested a lot in these tests. One day, when I walked into class, some students even asked me to help solve advanced exercises. 2 weeks later, when the results came, my excited students all rushed over to me. Miss Palmer, thanks to you, the questions were the same as the ones you showed us the other day, so it only took us a blink to finish. What are they talking about? Before I could understand, the principal summoned me to his office. As I entered, he angrily showed me the math sheet that I was allegedly teaching in the extra class. What kind of work ethic allows leaking exam questions, Miss Palmer? Leak the test? Me? No! Please.
No more excuses. You're fired.
No. They can't punish me for something I didn't do. Someone must have framed me. I asked my students where they got that piece of paper, and they said it was already on the table when they came to class. So Cassie and Ethan must have been behind this. Good job, Ethan, for putting up their remorse act just to set up a bigger plan to humiliate me. Okay then, they won. Unemployed and desperate, with hospital bills to cover, I had to work full-time at the car wash, as well as taking night shifts at 7-Eleven. But besides the measly wages was a bonus of rotten eggs and tomatoes, scornful looks, and snarky comments saying I didn't deserve the teacher title. The scandal truly turned my life upside down. Then, when I was at the hospital with my mom, suddenly Ethan rushed in and said he would clear my name. Clear my name? Wasn't he the one who put dirt on me? What was he playing this time? With nothing to lose, I reluctantly went with him. He led me to the school's control room. The principal was also there. Then I saw Sadie standing on stage. Ethan said it was her who discreetly put the math sheet on the table. What? But, Rebecca? I distributed the test like you said, but I'm scared. What if someone finds out? Don't worry, now that Miss Palmer's fired, who else can dig this up? I'm only taking back my position as the beloved teacher who can take cover for y'all. No, I have to tell the principal everything. Who would believe you?
I would.
Furious, I rushed over to the stage and confronted her. Rebecca, I thought you were my friend. How could you? Don't ask me. Ask your phony self. Weren't you just trying to get the students to like you? What nonsense was she saying? I'm just doing my part of being a good teacher. How could she be so selfish and cruel? Out of jealousy?
Miss Palmer earned her students' respect with her pure heart. Look at you. The so-called love you have comes from buttering them up with all your lies. That's why they turn stubborn and make light of studying. I never knew you were that kind of person. How could you call yourself a teacher?
The principal couldn't hide his rage, fired Rebecca, then apologized to me and offered me my job back. But after all these troubles, this school had completely drained me. I couldn't take it anymore, so I refused. As I was wiping away my tears, Ethan came to my side.
Miss Palmer, I'm sorry for everything I did. I just tried to please Cassie, but now I know I was only hurting you.
I've already known about that. I was about to leave when a group of students led by Cassie approached us. Then Ethan told me it was Cassie who helped him with the plan to bait Rebecca into admitting her actions. Sorry for all the horrible things I did to you. Please stay.
We've learned a lot since you moved here. Please don't leave us.
Such a crazy term. I ended up staying. I mean, this is my dream job after all, and I'm not one to give up that easily. I also talked to Cassie's stepmom about her studying. Turns out she didn't realize her strict approach was causing a rift between them all. Cassie, Ethan, and their mom had a talk, and now they seem to understand each other better. I was so happy for them, and we became friends after that. Time flies, and now my students, or my friends to be correct, graduated, and would soon fly off to pursue their own dreams. Suddenly, Ethan dragged me to a corner.
So from now on, we're no longer teacher and student, right?
I guess, but
could you still teach me? Teach me how to love you.
Ugh, who's calling at this hour? Orla, your sister is having a wedding this weekend. Make arrangements to attend. My sister Rowan is having a what now? She had never had a date, and she's only 19. Are you still listening, Orla? Surely you have a boyfriend by now, so bring him along. Boyfriend? Yeah, right. As if I haven't been absolutely caught up with school lately. No matter what I did, in Mom's eyes, I was always the idle one who partied around with boys, while Rowan was obedient and hard-working. Ugh! You see, my parents divorced ages ago, so I live with my father in Atlanta, and my mom and sister Rowan live in the suburbs of Denver with my grandma. It's been a long time since I've met her, so I wouldn't mind paying a visit on this occasion. Only, where am I meant to find a guy at this short notice? My dear hometown, it's been a hot minute. Oh, there's Paul.
Sorry I kept you waiting. Let's go, gorgeous.
Let me introduce my boyfriend, a local college boy that I found on the internet. Even though we're on business terms, look at him. Handsome, gallant, and polite. I hit the jackpot. As we pulled up at the house, I saw my grandma waiting outside with a casual-looking guy. Oh, He must be my future brother-in-law. I happily ran over to hug Grandma. Rowan, you're back. Mata has been waiting for you. My, look at our match made in heaven. Is she confusing me with Rowan? I was about to correct her when suddenly the guy pulled me close and said,
We are indeed a charming couple, aren't we, honey?
Excuse me? Where is he putting his hand on? And is his eyesight just as bad as Grandma's to think I was Rowan? Just then, Rowan stepped forward, but strangely, she just smiled at us, then linked arms with Paul. And this is my boyfriend, Grandma. Do you think we look great together? What's wrong with everyone? Had I been zapped into some parallel universe or something? Suddenly, Rowan dragged me across the garden. Then she told me how Grandma had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, which had progressed so quickly recently, meaning sometimes she forgets. Other times she remembers, muddling everyone and everything. Not wanting to upset or confuse her, my mom and sister decided to act according to Grandma's memories, including this wedding. And of course, that Mata guy is not my sister's real fiancé, just a close classmate. But now she's confusing the two of us. So the lead role in this wedding play is yours now. Grandma's memory was deteriorating. Yeah, that sucks. But was a fake wedding necessary? Also, the thought of pairing up with that rude Maida guy sickened me. No way!
Listen to your sister, kid. Everyone is doing it for Grandma.
Did he just call me kid? Okay, that's it. This guy needs to know his place. But before I could jump at him, both my parents appeared and started lecturing me. Ugh, whatever. I stood my ground. Faking a marriage is ridiculous.
Happy now? Dad's little girl is acting spoiled again. Please, I raised her just fine. And you, if you'd taken care of your mother better, she wouldn't have been this way.
Not again. They only see each other once every couple of years, but the bickering always followed almost instantly. What's going on? You two have never been at odds. What's wrong? At the sight of Grandma, Mom and Dad suddenly took a 180. A moment ago, they were screaming each other's heads off, but now they're being all smiley, lovey-dovey. How ridiculous. But did Grandma really not remember that my parents were divorced? Her condition seemed to be as bad as they said. This meant I had no choice but to go along with their plan to make her happy. However, I was no professional actor. Constantly improvising according to Grandma's memories was not easy, especially when I was stuck with the annoying Maida for a scene partner. My mind was too full of thoughts to sleep properly, so I got up extra early and went for a stroll in the garden. Out of nowhere, Maida ran to me and grabbed my hand.
Did you sleep well last night, Bae?
Huh? Who's he acting for? In this empty garden? Or is this just an excuse to touch me? I forced my hand away from his, but then he had the audacity to whisper in my ear.
Shush, Grandma's watching us from upstairs.
Ugh, what a creep. Meanwhile, Rowan said she wanted to please Grandma, but actually, she wasn't even a little bit cooperative. At lunch, while I had to squeeze out a smile as Maida spoon-fed me soup, Rowan was being distant toward Paul, her boyfriend. Paul, my sister, also likes being fed. Right, that's her favorite dish. Paul got the point right away, so he scooped up some soup and gave it to Rowan as Grandma watched expectantly. But for some reason, my sister seemed irritated, shoved his hand away, and said she's allergic to it, which was some total nonsense. Grandma was obviously discontent hearing that, then stood up to leave the table first. What's the matter with you, Rowan? You didn't have to look so annoyed in front of Grandma. Why can't you just work with Paul? That's how Rowan's always been. She's shy and couldn't open up easily to strange guys as you can. What did she mean by that? Before I could reply, Dad came to my defense.
How can you say that? Isn't Orla trying her best to play her part and not make Grandma suspect a thing?
Oh, so you two are doing great, and we're just ruining everything? There they go again. Usually Rowan and I would just stand there and watch, because only our Grandma can stop their fights. And this time was no exception. As soon as they saw Grandma, my parents immediately turned around and held each other's hands. Maida was just as quick when he grabbed my arm as well as Grandma's, and then invited us for a walk. Hey, who are you? Why are you being so friendly to us? Oh dear, it was only a few seconds ago and her memory of him had already vanished. I immediately said Maida and I went to the same college and he was visiting me. I thought that was it, but no. Speaking of college, she immediately asked why we were home when we should be at school. The whole family froze at her reaction. My parents carefully mentioned the wedding to see if she remembered anything. But she snapped. "How can you talk about marriage when my 2 grandchildren are still of school age? Have you 2 lost your mind?" So, the next morning, I had to go to the university with Rowan. But the cherry on top was riding this tiny pink bicycle together per Grandma's order. This was embarrassing, but how can we refuse? She only recalled the old memories. So I wandered around here all day waiting for Maida and Rowan to finish their classes. Suddenly I spotted Paul with some girls. "Hey, what are you doing here?"
Oh, Orla. I'm just giving directions to these freshmen. Actually, I'm waiting to pick up your sister."
Wow, Paul seems to have a real crush on Rowan. I have to help my timid as a hair sister seize the opportunity. I took Paul to the lecture hall just as class was wrapping up, then pushed Rowan towards him, wished them a happy outing, and quickly pulled Maida away to give the couple some space. Finally, I could go home. But just as we reached the college gate, we saw Dad helping Grandma come this way. Seeing my face turn pale, Dad immediately explained that Grandma thought today was my first day of college, so she insisted on coming to pick us up. Jeez, it was bad enough coming here on a tiny pink bike. I drew the line at my dad and Grandma picking me up. I wasn't a preschooler. I was assigned to tidy the football field. It's my turn on duty today. Don't wait for me. Oh, is that so? Take your time. I'll look around for a while. I looked at Maida, hoping he had some idea to get me out of this, but he just grinned and took the broom from me.
"Come on, let's clean up this place."
I was only gonna fake cleaning a bit, but turns out Grandma's the most meticulous supervisor ever. "Orla, there's some trash over there. Look closely, honey, there are dry leaves in the corner. Then, you have to wipe these stains with a wet cloth." As soon as she went away, I lay on the field, panting with exhaustion. "Aren't you tired?" "Oh man, I'm already drained out. Can't imagine how bad it's gonna get for me at Grandma's age. Poor her. It's scary how one day we might forget our family."
Birth, aging, sickness, death, these are things we can't change. Orla, but one thing we could do is cherishing every moment with our loved ones, as these times are special.
I was so wrong when initially I considered Maida as an impolite, annoying person. His deep thoughts made me feel comfortable enough to pour my heart out about my family. Why my parents divorced, why I didn't visit Grandma as much as I should have, and all the fights with my sister Rowan. We talked loads, and it felt like we've known each other forever. That night I kept tossing and turning, and couldn't stop thinking about how Maida diligently helped me clean up, about our conversation in the afternoon, and the way he helped me stand up. Oh, what's wrong with me? It's undeniable that this side of him is so attractive. But there's one problem. When we were leaving, he said to me,
"See you tomorrow, Rowan."
Yes, Rowan. How could he? Was it because all these acts in front of my grandma got him mixed up? Or is it because she's always on his mind? Never mind. It's none of my business. The next day I was sick of strolling around the campus, so I went to class with Rowan and Maida. Rowan's right. They seemed really close. During the lesson, both of them listened attentively to the lecturer, then turned to discuss with each other. Maida also patiently explained the part Rowan didn't understand to her. "Hey, what are we gonna have for lunch? What's good in the canteen?"
"You will take this course next year too, so focus."
And then they got back to their discussion, as if I was invisible. Ugh, how frustrating. "Hey, are you jealous?" "Don't be, we're just friends." Why did she say that? Jealous? That's absurd. Still sulking? How about we go to the cinema tonight? I'll help you too. And here we are. As planned, I would sit next to Maida while Rowan would be with Paul. Sounds good. But when Rowan was about to settle next to Paul, Maida immediately took that seat. So he didn't want to sit next to me, or he didn't want Rowan to be with Paul? Either way, he obviously didn't have feelings for me. As soon as the movie ended, I rushed out of there, just to catch some familiar sight of Grandma and Dad again. She started nagging and insisted on escorting me home. "Why are you still out here at this hour, Rowan? There was a lot to prepare for the wedding." Now the wedding's back on? Oh dear, you two. A groom-to-be shouldn't be playing around like this. Paul? Why don't you pair me with Maida like before, Grandma? After all, we were back to our former partners. I'm with Paul and Maida with Rowan. Well, it's just a fake wedding, so it doesn't matter who I was marrying to, right? But what was this uneasy feeling? And then, it's like Grandma had telepathy to hear my wish. Right before the ceremony started, her memory suddenly reset. What are you doing sitting here? It's time. Get up there. She dragged Maida to the altar and told the best man, Paul, to step aside. Oh, how cute. And everything after that was like a dream. I walked down the aisle. Maida gently looked at me and sincerely made the vow. His acting was flawless, while I was buzzing with nerves. Sensing this, he gently held my hands to calm me down. I do. The crowd burst into applause, and among them I spotted Grandma's joyful face. Despite the exciting moment, I didn't let myself forget another important mission, which was helping my big sister to get a boyfriend. So I threw the bouquet to Rowan and winked at Paul. But weirdly, she didn't seem happy about this. That evening, after all the guests left, I went to look for Maida. To be honest, I really wanted to know if he felt the same as me. Here he was, but why did he look so agitated? I was about to call him when out of the blue he bolted to punch Paul repeatedly.
You jerk, stay away from Rowan, got it?
What's going on? They're fighting because of Rowan? So Maida really was pretending at the ceremony? He liked Rowan, not me. Didn't you say you're just friends with Maida? What's all this? Friends don't get jealous when someone else is flirting with you. Orla, it's not what you think. Knew it. She thought she could fool me again. I turned around and was about to chase after Paul to check on him, but someone's hand grabbed mine. It was Maida.
Paul is not as kind as you think he is.
Turned out the reason why Rowan was awkward around Paul was because he always tried to touch her. Not to mention girls on social media were calling him out for taking advantage of them and cheating on them. Both Maida and Rowan knew it all, but they tried to put up with it through the wedding. However, he kept crossing the line, so today Maida decided to teach him a lesson.
So how I acted at the movies that day and just now was to protect my friend, not because I'm jealous.
I didn't know he did so much for my family. Orla, how come you're here? Isn't it still the school year? And also, your parents are so weird. When did they make up with each other? Oh, she called me by my name. She even questioned who Maida was. Her memory seems to be perfectly back. Thinking our grandma had recovered, Rowan quickly called our parents. We were over the moon thinking a miracle had happened. But then, the doctor crushed our newfound joy, saying it was a phenomenon called terminal lucidity, meaning our grandma didn't have much time left. None of us wanted to believe it. But there was nothing else we could do but make the most out of the precious little time we had left with her. I also decided to put college on hold to live with Grandma during her last days. Each morning we would go for a walk together as I listened to her stories of the old days, and then share with her some of my fondest memories. Mom and Dad still bicker and then make up. Some things never change. But Rowan and I are getting along much better. Turns out we have more in common than we realized. And Maida, he still comes over to visit Grandma. Then one day, Maida was saying goodbye to me when Grandma suddenly shouted out loud, "Where do you think you're going? Still got loads to prepare? You think the wedding is a joke or something?" Wedding again? We froze and looked at each other till Grandma yelled at us a second time. But this round, maybe Maida and I wouldn't need to act anymore. 'Cause when I asked him if he was ready to take a vow again, he replied,
"Of course, Orla. I'm always ready to say those words to you every day."
It's finally the first day at the aquarium. And to say I'm nervous is an understatement. Stay calm. You can do this. You're Ariel, not Naira. I'm headstrong, spirited, and... Okay, let's get into character. Bright smile? Check. Friendly manner? Check. Ariel's accent? Check. I was a dazzling mermaid and even let the little kids stick their stickers on my fishtail while I answered a bazillion questions about Atlantica and my Prince Eric. The last visitor was the sweetest little girl who handed me a collectible box of cutlery as a gift. Oh my, such a lovely comb, but it looks rare. Are you sure your guardians would agree to this? Of course. My brother always says yes to me. The little girl signaled someone in the crowd to come over, And it was Arson? As in the cutest boy from school?
Naira? Oh my god. Your take on Ariel is spot on. I didn't know there was this side of you.
What are you talking about? I know not of this, Naira. Feeling the panic rise in me, I lifted my fishtail costume and ran with my 2 feet as all the kids stared in shock. I'd never wanted to disappoint those kids, but I had the biggest crush on Arson, and no way had I expected him to be there and see me like this. At school, I was a loser, a nobody. Yet, when I was acting, I felt invincible. At least, I did until my timid, introverted side got in the way of my performing dreams. That day, our drama club mentor announced our school play this year would be Legally Blonde. I loved that movie so much, and I already knew all the lines. I couldn't let this opportunity pass me by, so when the mentor asked who wanted to audition as the lead, Elle Woods, I took all the courage and raised my hand. The whole room fell silent and suddenly burst into laughter.
Oh, please, how could a loser like you play the glamorous Elle Woods?
Worst of all, the mentor agreed with her and said that I might be better suited for the nail lady role. And then she said the lead should go to someone who's outgoing and influential, like Eliza. What? Eliza's got the emotional range of a teaspoon. I gotta get this role. So I waited until the end of the meeting and then spoke to the mentor in private.
I'm sorry, but I can't cast an Elle Woods with stage fright. Naira, I'll consider giving you the role, but only if you can prove to me that you can do this without your fear getting the better of you. So, try practicing by going out in public and interacting with strangers. Get yourself comfortable in front of a crowd. Can you do that?
Feeling determined, I went to look for some kind of social experiment right away. And that's why I applied for this job at the aquarium. But I never thought anyone from class would show up. Least of all, Arson. He even caught up with me at school the next day, insisting he saw me at the aquarium. And typical me, being all fidgety and shy, I blurted out, "Maybe you mistook me for my twin sister, Cora."
Oh? In that case then, can I get her number? Or can you, arrange for me to go on a date with her? The way she glowed with confidence was amazing.
Wow, I didn't expect him to be that into my acting. How ironic. Wait, what if I continue to play Cora and go on a date with him? I could practice my acting as this unapologetically outgoing girl while spending time with him? Tempting, right? Okay, wait at the book cafe near school on Sunday, 3 p.m. I'll tell Cora about it. I'd been preparing for this date the whole week. After watching multiple tutorials on YouTube, I was finally able to put together this bold look. All that's left to do was to wear Cora's self-confidence to match it. So I did a Bella Hadid runway strut into the cafe, straight past the gawping onlookers and over to Arson's seat, and interrupted him from his reading. Hi, is that a Rick Riordan's book?
Yeah, Heroes of Olympus. Are you a fan of Riordan too?
Are you kidding me? I've read all of his works. Yes, Breaking the Ice, success. We connected over our shared love of fantasy novels and other nerdy things. I didn't want the date to ever end, so I invited him along to a secret place of mine. I covered his eyes until we got there. Being the cute guy he was, he went along with it, even though he looked unsure about what was happening. When I turned the lights on and the ice rink appeared, his face lit up. Then the snow began to fall. It felt like a scene out of Frozen. Then we went onto the ice and Arson fell straight onto his butt.
Stop laughing. This is my first time, okay?
Aw, embarrassed Arson was so cute. I helped him up, and it was the first time our hands touched. I led him around the rink and taught him some moves. When I looked at him, I saw him looking back at me with this big grin on his face. Then suddenly he pulled me in, and I fell right into his embrace. Our faces were so close, and I swore we were about to kiss. Ugh! Overcome with nerves, I pushed him away, and he lost his balance and fell flat on the ice. But he jumped up to his feet right away and skated after me.
Oh, don't let me catch you, or else.
Let's see you try. Yesterday felt like a dream. We texted each other nonstop up until the last class of the day, PE. My eyes were still glued to my phone when a flying ball hit my knee. It was from Eliza. Right after that, another one came and knocked my glasses off. I shielded myself with my arms and hoped it would go away soon, and surprisingly, it did. Only, Arson was standing in front of me, blocking all the balls. Arson, what are you doing there? We were just playing around.
Playing around? Can't you see you're hurting her?
Then Arson turned to me and asked me if I was okay. Could this be it? Did he realize I was the girl he went on a date with? Thank you for helping me out.
You're my friend, and also Cora's sister, so I've got to look out for you, right?
Oh, he didn't recognize me. That meant my acting was flawless, right? Then why did I feel so uneasy about it? As uncomfortable as I felt about the situation, I also liked Arson way too much to stop it. So I continued pretending to be Cora. He acted so lovey-dovey on our dates, and it made my heart melt. But at school, he only saw me as Cora's helpless, clumsy sister. He talked about her constantly and stared blankly into space as if there were an imaginary Cora there. It started bugging me that Arson only liked the confident, fun, and spontaneous heroine I'd created, not coy Naira. I couldn't blame him though, if I didn't find myself lovable. Maybe that's why Mom left me and didn't bother to write or to call. I couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't feed Arson with false expectations of an unreal character, so I typed out a text to Arson telling him that Cora was on her way to study abroad for 3 years and that this relationship wouldn't work. Arson kept texting back, non-stop, and even came to my house to look for Cora and broke down in tears when I told him she'd already left. I felt so bad, but that was the only way for him to stop fantasizing about Cora. Over time, his pain would fade, right? From that day on, Arson always looked for me at school and consistently asked about her. This didn't go unnoticed by Eliza, who was clearly green with envy. Lunchtime came, and Eliza, along with her minions, suddenly approached me. "Why so lonely? Has Arson abandoned you?" I tried to ignore her and eat my lunch, but she wouldn't leave me alone. "Fine then, I'll lend you a hand." "Arson, hi! Did you know that Naira here is so obsessed with you? She even admits that she loves to follow you everywhere like a stalker. How creepy." "Huh? What was this girl saying? Now people were staring at me, judging me for something that wasn't even true. I was done with being Naira, the loser. If only Cora's personality helped me stand up for myself." "Shut up! Me and Arson are friends, so what? Why do you have to make stuff up about me? Is it 'cause you're jealous of me?" "What? Me? Jealous of you?" "You like Arson, don't you? I feel sorry for you, really. You're gonna pick on everyone he talks to? How pathetic." Just like that, people made disapproving comments at Eliza. She couldn't do anything other than run away in shame. While I suddenly received praise for standing up against the school's tyrant, people seemed to love this new side of me, so perhaps it was a good time to give myself a makeover. The next day at school, I started dressing up boldly and wearing contact lenses instead of nerdy glasses. My classmates seemed to like my new look. My drama club mentor changed her attitude towards me as well. I even applied for the student council and my popularity grew, and so did my friendship circle. The world opened up to me, but weirdly, being around people all the time just felt uncomfortable and exhausting. I couldn't really talk to any of them, as we weren't even close. I just felt so left out. When it came to a charity date auction, being on the council committee meant that I was appointed a bachelorette. That meant everyone joining this event would bid to take me on a date, and that bidding money would go to the school's fund to build a new cafeteria. That's how I ended up here, on stage at the auction. I tried my best to act cool, to raise as much money as possible. The boys kept cheering for me, trying to show their charms, and I tried to flirt back by talking nonsense and winking at them. Once the bidding started, chaos commenced as people kept raising their paddle numbers.
40. 60. 80.
It suddenly came to me that I didn't want to go on dates with any of these guys. I didn't know them at all. And just then, Arson shouted from the back.
500. 500 going once, going twice, and sold.
Arson jumped on stage, grabbed my hand, and dragged me out of there. He led me to the garden, and then he started asking me tons of questions.
"What is it with you lately? It's as if you're someone else."
No way! I'm just the same old Naira."
"Tell me the truth. Are you... Cora? You switched places with your sister to protect her, right?" "Oh, Cora, I've missed you so much."
After all this time, he was still in love with Cora? Even now when I changed myself, he still didn't see me as Naira? "Arson, I can't." And then I just ran out of there. After a night of crying myself to sleep, I was back at school and found myself summoned to the principal's office with a smirking Eliza. There she showed the principal a video recording of my conversation with Arson last night, which was proof that someone else had been replacing me at school. If this was true, I could be expelled. Oh no! Panic! I blurted out a lie that I had bipolar and that sometimes I switched to the other persona and acted up. The principal seemed confused, but then she insisted I go to the school therapist. I had no choice but to agree. And it was actually really good for me. Through talking to the therapist, I could finally open up about my past. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been super shy. I thought it was why my mom left me behind when she split from Dad and moved out. She hadn't even contacted me once. I know a childish nerd like me would never be the one who she could really talk to. Thank God my dad came to pick me up after that. The thought of facing my so-called friends on the bus was making me nauseous.
Were you that unhappy not having your mother around?
I just don't know why she left me behind without a word. Was I a loser in her eyes?
Honey, listen. Mom loves you. And the reason you didn't receive any letters from her was because I hid them all from you.
What? Why would you do that?
Because I was so broken after your mom left that I thought it would be better if you and I could forget everything about her. I'm sorry.
Don't you know how terrible I felt about myself all those years just because of your selfishness? I ran into the house immediately. I couldn't look at him right now, only to see Mom and Cora were sitting in the living room. Both rushed towards me and pulled me in for a hug. Yeah, the Cora character wasn't entirely made up. Instead, I based her on my real-life twin sister. The little 5-year-old me always struck by Cora's side, hid behind her dress while she boldly stood up against anyone who dared to pick on me. I'd always looked up to her. Turned out, when Dad got the call from school, he realized his actions had caused me pain, so he did everything in his power to contact Mom and brought her and Cora from LA to here. Mom kept apologizing to me, saying she regretted every minute of leaving me behind. Seeing them all break down in tears like that ached my heart, but it gave me this warm feeling at the same time. After all this time, my family feud was finally resolved. Just at that moment, the doorbell rang. It's Arson. Naira, is that your boyfriend?
What?
I dragged him away immediately, and this time I admitted the whole truth to him. I told him how I lied that the girl in the aquarium was Cora, because I didn't think he'd like the real me, as I wasn't a confident presence. But my feelings for him were real, and that's why I tried so hard to get close to him, but I figured now that he knew the truth it'd be over, so I'd just walk away. Finally, I'm back. I've been in LA for an entire winter break to spend more time with Mom and Cora, and to figure myself out. I've realized that being an introvert is nothing to be self-conscious about. I'm observant, and that'll help a lot of my acting passion, right? This semester, I'll definitely try to impress my drama club mentor. No boys will ever distract me again. And that's when I spotted Arson waving at me with a huge bouquet in his hand. Arson, what are you doing here? I thought you were still mad at me.
Well, I thought about it a lot, and honestly, things between us got messy, so I'd like to get to know you again. Only this time, please can it be the real you, as I really want to know what Naira's about. What do you say?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Wow, this Florida beach resort was the epitome of luxury. Hi, I'm Dakota, the beloved and only daughter of Hardy Balmer, the world-renowned wine billionaire. But I don't know why. We have this huge fortune and Dad still makes me study and always rushes me to get a job. Well, no way that's gonna happen. So for now, let's just enjoy this gorgeous place and this finest wine, shall we? FYI, there isn't a wine brand in the world I haven't tasted. I can distinguish them all easily with just one sip. Chardonnay versus Riesling? Piece of cake. Let's see if there's anything interesting going on in the world. Wait, what is this?
There must be some mistake.
How can Daddy be bankrupt? I called him repeatedly, but all I got was the busy signal. Something's wrong. I rushed to the private helicopter to return to our mansion. What's happening? Why are those men carrying away our valuable furniture? The nanny Maria ran out to me in tears. She told me Daddy had disappeared and all he'd left behind was this wooden box. I rummaged through it, but only found some old notebooks and a certificate of ownership for a farm winery. Oh well, Dad may be bankrupt, but at least I still have this vineyard to live off. Let's go check out my newly acquired assets then. This place looks huge. I wonder how much money it made a month. I looked around and then wandered into an enormous wine cellar. Curious, I touched some wine barrels when suddenly someone's voice snapped at me.
Stay away from them. Who are you?
I'll have you know that I own this place, so I'll do whatever I want.
Have you lost your mind? Get out, now!
He suddenly grabbed my wrist and dragged me outside.
I furiously screamed and people started to gather around. Listen up, my name is Dakota, Hardy Balmer's daughter, and from now on, I'm in charge around here. I showed them the certificate of ownership as proof, but they didn't seem to care. Only an old-looking man came to shake my hand.
Welcome, Miss Balmer. I'm Jack, your father's long-standing companion. Come inside. My son James will show you around in a bit.
Okay, finally, someone showed some manners. Oh, I miss hanging out with my friends. I should have been at Fashion Week right now, not here in this lousy farm.
Get up, couch potato. We have a vineyard to visit.
Ugh, it's that rude guy again. It's too hot outside now. No way I'm making my way out there. So I shooed him away and continued staring at my phone. James then threw the stupid map of the winery at me and left.
Thank God, he finally left me alone.
After a week of lounging around and being waited on by Nanny Maria, I eventually longed for fresh air. Remembering the map James gave me, I decided to check out the place. First stop, the vineyard. Wow, it's so big! But why did they leave the soil so crackling dry? Let's see, where's the sprinkler?
There we go. But as soon as I turned it on, a scowling farmer ran over and immediately turned it off.
Hey, miss, this is not your toy.
What's the attitude? They're my employees but have the cheek to act this snootily to me?
Harvest is in 2 weeks. To keep the sweetness of the grapes, no one waters them.
Why is this James guy everywhere? I'm the daughter of the wine billionaire. I didn't need any preaching on how to run my farm.
Days after that, I came to the farm to pluck up the grass,
trim, and fertilize the plants. But I kept getting shooed out. Those awful farmers were so disrespectful. Fine, I needed to show them who's the real boss here. That night, I asked Jack to gather everyone in the communal dining room and declared I would fire some of them for their disrespectful attitudes. But they just gave indifferent looks. How dare they? Didn't they know I could just sell this place and make them all homeless? But then Jack handed me a contract signed by my daddy, stating that due to the blood, sweat, and tears they'd all put into this place, no one has the right to fire them or sell the farm. Jack also gave me other documents. Seemed like due to my family's bankruptcy, the farm had not been doing well. If nothing changes, it might be dissolved. What? So the only property Dad left me was also on the verge of failing? I yelled at them.
Then do something to sort it out, now!
Suddenly, everyone got up from their seats and glared at me with anger. My head was spinning around. Feeling panicked, I rushed outside. I sat by myself, hugging the wooden box Daddy left me in bewilderment. I flipped the notebooks and was surprised to find a letter in the bottom of the box, in which Dad told all about how from the day Mom passed away, he'd put all the effort into this farm and became a successful entrepreneur.
I used to believe that compensating my time for work to provide you with a wealthy life would be enough. All this actually did was create a greater distance between us. My darling Dakota, I'm so sorry. My only hope is that you'll see as much beauty in this vineyard as I do.
If only Dad was here now. How can I deal with all these troubles and challenges ahead? I burst into tears.
They meant no harm.
James' voice startled me. I quickly wiped away my tears. He sat beside me and offered a wine-spludged handkerchief.
This isn't just some random farm for these people. It's also their home. Don't accuse them of not trying. This farm means far more to them than it does to you.
I was just...
This is when we should all stand together. Don't let your selfishness threaten the future of this whole winery and everyone involved.
Even though I hated his guts, what he said did make sense. Maybe I had been neglectful of my responsibility for this place. If this winery was the most precious thing to my dad, then I want to put it right, for him. James smiled gently, putting his hand on my shoulder.
That's settled then. We're all gonna revive this place.
He then left after telling me to show up at the cellar at 5 a.m. the day after. The next morning, while walking around, James told me everything about temperature control and wine brewing. Growing up, Dad would always pass on this wine knowledge to me at the dinner table, and I actually remembered them. He even took me to his wine tasting sessions, and that's how he discovered I was gifted with a great sense of smell and taste buds. Even James was impressed with my talent and said I was born to work in this industry after letting me taste some samples. The next step in the process was much harder than I thought. It took me a whole day to memorize all the different varieties of grapes and how to sort them, but I still messed it up. How come there are so many ripe stages? I was frustrated and was about to leave when Karen, my instructor, called me back. You have to take it slow. Wine takes time and we have to be patient. Okay, fine. I'll try. As I was sorting, I got to chat with the workers, and it turned out they were quite friendly and even helped me out a lot. It was true that these workers really treated this place like their home and cherished it here. It had been more than 2 weeks, and I was harvesting the new crop with everyone. Thanks to the tips in Dad's notebook, with a pinch of my own creativity to it, James and I were in the process of creating a new line of wine. I was confident that this would help revive the winery. I was checking stuff in the cellar when James rushed in with a leaflet in his hand. Hey Dakota, this is our chance. Wow, so this town was hosting an upcoming wine festival. If our winery could win something, we could gain lots of orders for this season. The next morning, I prepared all the documents to register for the King of Wine contest. While waiting for the interview, I strolled through the showroom and tasted the previous winning wines. Wow, they all have unique tastes. Since I had my eyes closed to appreciate the wine layers, I bumped into a handsome guy and accidentally spilled red wine on his shirt. Oh, I'm sorry. No biggie. It's just a small stain. Oh my, he was such a gentleman, which made me feel even more guilty. I was about to ask for his contact so I could make it up for him later when the organizer called me for the interview. My eyes were just looking away from him for a sec, and he'd already gone. Anyway, it was a blessing the interview went well, and our winery was eligible for the contest. I decided to treat myself to a coffee before heading back, but at the counter, I realized I didn't have any money on me. Oh no! I forgot my wallet. I'll pay for that. Wait, it's him, the guy I spilled the wine on. Turns out he's Danny, and he might be young, but he's in fact a skilled wine critic who even held the position of vice president of the city's wine association. More surprisingly, he's a fan of my dad's and adores the wines he created. After chatting with him, I came back to the farm to tell everyone the good news. They were all very excited and started preparing for the competition right away. 2 weeks before the competition, the organizing committee sent over a few people to do some preliminary assessments. And guess what? Danny was also here, being a part of the inspection team. So, after the inspection, I invited Danny to stay and share some knowledge about wine brewing. And fortunately, he's free for a few days and was pleased to stick around. Yay! I excitedly told James the great news, but he responded with no interest. That's not exactly good news. Why? Oh, I see. You're jealous of him, aren't you? What? Me? Jealous? What does he even have for me to be envious about? Well, he's handsome and also exceedingly knowledgeable about wine. And people seem to like him. Wait, where are you going? I haven't finished. Whatever, no one needs him, as we have Danny here now, such a charming gentleman. For the next 2 days, Danny kept trying to make time for me. Yes, just the two of us. Gosh, he's so romantic. I could spend hours with him. Dakota, you're the most special girl I've ever met. Hey, dinner time. Ugh, another would-be perfect moment ruined by James. He seemed to go out of his way to come between us. He sat in between us in the dining room, saying it was his favorite seat. Then, he followed us into the vineyard and said he was checking the quality of the grapes at 11 p.m. For real? Such a third wheel, and he's so cranky toward Danny. Hello, the guy's trying to help us here, so why the grumpy attitude? Later that night, I was passing by the kitchen when I overheard James and his dad. Should we start now? Definitely. The big day is coming up, or else we won't make it. Dakota is busy being all lovey-dovey with that jerk. She doesn't need to know this. What? Are they planning something behind my back? And then, something absolutely horrible happened the next day. When Danny and I arrived at the cellar to pick up the competition wine, we stepped into a sauna. What is this? Why is the wine cellar so hot? Someone must have tampered with the room temperature. I rushed to check the wine. Oh no, the heat had removed the last 2 notes and made it too sour. I fell to the ground and started sobbing. Danny tried to comfort me. He told me not to worry as he'd introduced some big clients to me, then he had to leave to prepare for the upcoming competition. I looked at the barrels in sorrow, but then remembered something. My dad also set the heat too high once and found a way to filter and ferment it again to tone down the sour flavor. I'm sure it's somewhere in the notes he left. I hurried back to my room to search through the wooden box, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Someone definitely was messing with me. Oh my god, who else could it be? The conversation between James and his dad came to mind, so I furiously went to look for him. Seeing James, I couldn't control my anger and shouted, "It's you, isn't it? You adjusted the wine cellar temperature. You stole my father's notebook. You've been planning to sabotage me for a long time, haven't you?" James acted confused, but before the snake could blurt out anything, I stopped him and said, "Get out of here, now!" He gave a defeated nod, then left without a word. Tomorrow is the day of the contest, yet I don't have any wine to enter. I picked up the letter my father left me and felt like a loser. Maybe I'm just not fit for this. Right at this moment, James pushed the door open. "Dakota, look! I told you to leave!" Ignoring my words, James calmly poured a glass of wine and told me to try it. "Oh, this actually tastes pretty good. It's the new wine you created. I stayed up a few nights and fixed its acrid taste. Now we can take it to the contest." I yelped out in joy, then lunged to hug a surprised-looking James. Look at his face, red as a tomato. But, remembering how sketchy he was in the kitchen the other night, I quickly let go of him and calmed down. First things first, we had to hit the road now to participate in the competition. Our wine stall attracted a lot of guests and got highly praised by all the judges. When Danny saw us, I noticed how surprised he seemed by my presence with this new wine. I didn't expect the technique of filtration and fermentation could change the flavor so amazingly. You're really talented, Dakota. Let's take some time to discuss this in more detail later. I happily agreed, but isn't that technique recorded in my dad's notebook? How did he know it? I left the bar and sneakily followed Danny. Then in a hidden corner, I overheard him talking to someone. "I've adjusted the cellar's heat to destroy everything, but who knew she'd use her father's technique to fix it? I've already taken the notebook away, but she probably remembered them all. Whatever the reason is, her wine is becoming a strong rival. My championship is at stake. Can you just do something?" So, have I been trusting the wrong person? Well, that hurts. But I'll sure make him pay for that. I quickly submitted the recording to the judges, and immediately there was an announcement to pause, and the wines were regraded by blind tasting to be fair. And you know what? The new wine I created won the 3rd prize. Okay, so the prize money wasn't as grand, but it'd help us get a decent amount of orders for the next year's crop. I happily went to the podium to accept the award and almost fainted on stage because the awarder was no one other than my dad. I hugged him and sobbed uncontrollably. It turned out that my father was not bankrupt. He just donated all his assets to charity. His plan to pretend bankruptcy was just to help me become more independent and walk on my own feet. It's unbelievable, but I'm not mad at him for it. On the contrary, I feel very fortunate that my father did that to give me a chance to grow up. As for Danny, he was kicked out of the City Wine Association. That's the price to pay for his cattishness. He deserves it. And James, it turns out that the conversation between him and his father was just about fixing the wine, as the two of them discovered the spoiled wine way before I did. Now, the vineyard is my first career, just like it was my dad's. This place is my home, and the workers are my family. Yep, this even includes this cold, cranky guy.
Why is he always late? I've been waiting for my boyfriend Kevin for the last half an hour. I craned my head to see if he was coming, but the only people around were a cuddling couple. I watched the guy kiss his girlfriend on the cheek, then led her over to the Porsche parked nearby. Oh wow, if only... But wait, that guy! Oh my god, it's Kevin! Thanks for the gift, babe, but wouldn't this Gucci wallet look even more perfect with a pair of Brioni pants? You jerk! I shouted as I threw the cake I was holding at his shocked face. To the surprise of the new girlfriend, he immediately denied knowing me and made out I must be crazy. What? However, once the girl got in the car, he turned to me. "We're done. You may have a pretty face, but you're just some poor little orphan." What did he just say? Poor little orphan? I trusted him. I loved him. But it turns out he was just a lying, cheating gold digger. My heart ached through this betrayal, but I still had to drag myself to work. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm Linda. I've lived at this orphanage since I was little, and my job is to take care of the vegetable garden. If only one day a king would appear, tell me I was the long-lost princess, then take me back to his magnificent kingdom. I was just putting on my gloves when a nun rushed over to me. Oh no, busted. I was gonna get nagged for being late. But to my surprise, she smiled as she handed me a piece of paper. Oh my god, I can't believe it! I've been adopted! Curious, I flipped the paper and checked my adopter's information. Huh? Their year of birth was only 2000? I was eager to read more, but the nun took the paper back. I must have misread it. No way my adopter is barely older than me. The nun pointed to the gate. A Mercedes was there with a bodyguard in black. Next to him was a woman wearing a long skirt, a mask, and sunglasses. Is that the person who adopted me? Am I finally going to be a rich mistress living in the big castle with my millionaire parents? Well, yep. I'm now sitting in this expensive car with my adoptive mother. I was so excited. But the whole ride, she didn't say a word. And this weirdness continued until we stopped in front of this incredible mansion. As soon as we entered the place, a maid hurried over and bowed to us. Only then did my foster mother turn to me, take off her sunglasses, and say, "Hi, Martha. Welcome to your new home, my daughter." Oh, she sounds so young. So she must really be born in 2000. But this girl, who's just my sister's age, just called me daughter? That's so weird. This definitely would take some getting used to. Then Mom told the chauffeur to start the car as it was time for my makeover. Wow, another car? Huh? Isn't that a limousine? This was insane. And boom, here I am at a luxury beauty salon. I didn't know what half of these shimmering, expensive-looking products were. I let the beautician do her thing and boom again. When I opened my eyes, a stranger stared back at me. Wow, with his curly blonde hair and layers of makeup, I looked at least 5 years older. Oh man, goodbye my cool blue streaks. Before I could complain, my new mom handed me an outfit. Wait, what is this? This dress is super tight and short. I feel like an Egyptian mummy in it. As for these high heels, ugh, how could anyone walk straight in these things? But seeing my mother's satisfied eyes, I tried to force a smile. I'm a noble lady now, and this is just how we dress, right? Finally, dinner time. I used to think that places like this only existed on TV. Oh, look at these numbers. One meal here costs more than our monthly expenses at the orphanage. Wow, it didn't take long until the waiter brought out these fancy-looking dishes. But Mom's still wearing a mask? I was about to ask when she ordered a portion to go, then told me to just eat and she would wait for me. Why though? This was so awkward. Why was she so insistent on keeping her mask? But that's not the only strange thing. Today, I returned to school. Still the same old school, but Mom insisted this muscular bodyguard accompanied me everywhere. I couldn't even go to the restroom in peace as he stood guard outside. It's great I've been adopted and all, but I can't carry on being controlled like this. It's so embarrassing. I have to negotiate with Mom. So I made her some squash soup to break the ice. I knocked on her door a few times, but no response. So I opened it, intending to leave the bowl on her table when suddenly someone held my wrist. It was Mom. She looked at me with scary eyes. "How dare you enter my room without permission? Where are your manners? I made some soup for you, and I forbid you from entering my room again. I will not repeat myself on this." Okay, geez. Why was she so sensitive about it? I wonder what she was hiding there. So, that was a failure, and I still have this living statue following me everywhere. It's lunchtime, yet thanks to him, no one would ever sit with me. I needed to escape him before his presence suffocated me. What should I do? Finally, after overhearing some students mention that the vending machine had run out of orange juice, I immediately asked the bodyguard to get some for me. Ha! I'm sure he won't find any even if he dug up this whole school. Success! How
great it is not being supervised by that giant rock of a guard. I was in the field joyfully chatting with two of my friends, but I didn't even get to finish my story before the bodyguard showed up again. Great, now you've scared my friends off. There he goes again, being all silent and still. Ugh, this was so annoying. I need to set up a date to apologize to my friends about that incident. And of course, we have to finish the gossip we were talking about. But how could I possibly avoid my bodyguard? Aha! I just sneaked out of the kitchen's back door, and there's only this fence left between me and freedom. Oh no, the stupid alert system! The bodyguard was rushing toward me, but thankfully, I made it through. But then, oh snap. Before I could process what was going on, Mom was glaring at me and gave the guard an order. Take her back to her room, immediately! As soon as I was tossed back into my room, Mom started yelling. What is this rag you're wearing? Maids, throw this ghastly clothes away at once. From now on, you'll only wear what I allow you to. And you must not go outside without my permission. Is that clear? Then she slammed the door shut. What? Why was she being so unreasonable? I couldn't live like this. I needed to talk to her. I barged into her room but didn't see her anywhere. I took a look around and noticed a picture of a girl, but why does she look exactly like me? Who is this person? What's happening here? Mom angrily sprinted towards me and grabbed the photo frame. I tried to take it back, and as we were pulling about, I quickly took a chance and snatched her mask. Surprisingly, her wig also came off. Oh my god, Martha looks exactly like me! Except there's a mark on the side of her face. Martha, what's going on? It took a while for her to calm down and tell me everything. Turns out she was due to marry her dream man, but then she was diagnosed with hypochromia, a condition that affects red blood cells and can result in skin pigmentation. She worried if her fiancé found out, he would cancel the wedding. Then she found a picture of me that my orphanage posted on their fan page. Stunned by how similar we looked, she came up with the idea of asking me to replace her on her big day. What? How dare she use me like a tool? I was about to leave, but then she got on her knees and started sobbing. Please help me. I must marry him. Then you can go home. I have lots of money. You can have as much as you want. Please, this marriage is everything to me. I'm truly in love with him. Martha looks so pathetic. I couldn't leave her alone miserable like this, so I agreed to help her. She then shared her Instagram account with me so I could contact her fiancé. So I went on my first date with this man called Elias, wearing a Bluetooth headset connected to Martha's. 5 minutes had passed and he hadn't noticed I was a fake. That was a little strange, huh?
Is there something on my face? Why are you staring at me like that?
Oh, sorry. It's just you look even more appetizing than this beefsteak.
And you're far prettier than the last time we met, Maddie.
Every time I set eyes on you, I feel myself blossoming.
Ugh, I know. It was a cheese fest. But hey, I was just doing my part here.
Then suddenly, Elias sighed and gave me this sad look.
My dad is seriously ill and is in the hospital. Right now, we're in a very difficult financial situation. At this rate, I don't know if the wedding will go as planned. So, it would be great if you could help me.
Yes, of course. I will help you. Don't worry.
Oh boy, what a simp Martha is.
As soon as I delivered the line, Elias immediately got up and said he must go to the hospital to take care of his dad, leaving the bill to me. Something about all this seems fishy to me. The next day, I waited for Elias at a cafe. He was late and rushed in, looking all flustered.
Honey, did you wait long? You have the money, don't you?
I gave Elias the bank card and a small gift box. I wanted to cheer you up, so here's a little something extra. Yeah, Martha had begged me to deliver this gift box to him by hand, saying that his family situation must have stressed him out tons, so she wanted to comfort him.
What a rich people thing to do. Oh, a Rolex! Pumpkin, thank you. This watch will surely go well with the Valentino shirt. What a pity I don't have one yet.
Wait, I think I'd heard this somewhere before. Oh my god, he sounded exactly like that douchebag Kevin. Was he just using Martha for her money? I decided to pry further and find out. Is your dad better? I would like to visit him. Which hospital is he in?
Elias looked confused. He fidgeted with his watch, unable to meet my gaze. My dad's fine. You really don't need to visit him. So you don't have to worry about the hospital bills anymore, right? Oh, no. I haven't paid his bills yet. I can't. I'm just kidding. Of course, it's yours. Now, I'm sure he's no different than my gold-digging ex. I couldn't let this guy continue to take advantage of Martha. I went home and told her right away, but she refused to believe me.
Stop talking nonsense. Now, take this cake to him at once. He must be so exhausted after looking after his sick dad. This would be a sweet surprise for him.
I struggled to carry the huge cake to Elias's house. Then I saw him standing there arguing with another girl. I should have broken up with you a long time ago. My fiancé is much richer than you.
I'm begging you, please, change your mind.
The girl cried and pulled Elias's hand, but he just swung his arm and got into the car. Ugh, that jerk Elias! He's treating these girls as hard like they're his playthings. I have to stop this. The big day has come already. But before walking down that aisle, I need to get one thing done first.
What do you think about this look, huh? I took a selfie and sent it to Elias to see his reaction.
Right at that moment, Martha rushed into the room.
What on earth do you think you're doing?
Just leave it alone, and we'll have a great show for you to see. Suddenly, I received a message from Elias. Darling, you're as beautiful on the inside as you are on the outside. The love I feel for you is indescribable, and I can't wait to call you my wife. Wow, give this guy an Oscar.
See?
Oh, really? Then let me show you something even more interesting. Right at that moment, I received another text.
Okay, that's my cue to act.
I signaled Martha to stay quiet and dragged her over to the window. We took a peek outside, and that's when someone appeared. As I walked up the aisle, I heard gasps from everyone. Geez, had they never seen a pigmentation mark before? But Elias gently smiled at me. Well, let's see how long he can keep up the act. It was my turn to read the oath when Martha furiously barged in.
Elias, you're a liar! The wedding's off!
What? Wait, Martha? But why are there two of you? The whole crowd was in an uproar.
Drop the act. I already know you're only marrying me for my money. Money you plan on granting to another girl.
No, Maddie, I love you. Right at that moment, a girl stepped out of the crowd.
Pff, you truly believe I'd ever get back with you? Not in your dreams.
All eyes stopped on the pathetic, panic-stricken Elias. Ha! Take that, you lying gold digger. Oh, the girl looks familiar, right? She's Ruby, Elias's ex. On that day, I followed Ruby and told her everything about Elias' gold digger ways. Then we came up with a plan to expose him. Ruby would come to the wedding and beg for him back. And as expected, after seeing a picture of me with a flawed face, he immediately agreed to get back with Ruby. And of course, I purposefully let Martha overhear the conversation. Brilliant! Now, Elias is currently being removed by Martha's bodyguards. Serves him right. So what happened next? Well, Martha told me about her past. Her parents both passed away and left her a huge fortune. She may have had wealth, but she was lonely, which is why she acted impulsively around Elias. We both learned that love is precious, and it's also worth the wait for someone who loves us unconditionally. Martha let me stay here in her mansion, and we've actually become really close. It turns out we both have found something way better than fake love from slimy gold diggers, and that's sisterly love.